Hey there, gang. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the Missouri Liberty Alliance live stream. Give us a 5 by 5. Let us know if you can hear us. I see Hunter in there, Sheraton Farmer, Grant, Michelle. Hello to everyone.
I don't see nothing over here. Oh, there we are. There we are.
Hey there, gang. Welcome to the live stream.
Oh,
Welcome to
hang
Missouri
on.
Liberty
Can you
Alliance
go ahead
live
and turn that
stream.
down?
555. Let us know if you can hear us.
Someone's got the video going. I'm hearing the feedback on that.
That was me.
Okay. Okay, we got a 5 by 5. Juicin' with Jen is with us as well. Sheraton Farmer. All right, good deal. Okay, let me start out by saying, first off, welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining tonight. It's probably going to be a little heavy in places tonight and a little bit lighter in other areas. But we did want to talk about several things, particularly about the trip to Jefferson City. First off, let you guys know, for those of you who don't know, this was pretty much done on Facebook. In Retro Life, hello there. Um, we did this on Facebook, and there was a reason why. We don't have 1,000 subs on our YouTube channel, and it takes 1,000 subs to broadcast on a mobile device. So that's specifically why it was all relegated to Facebook. But my days were so long, I did not have the inclination, strength to actually do a video in between the 2 days to let you guys know that that's the way it was. But those who were on our Facebook actually got to see some live videos and some commentary along the way. So also too, those of you who did not receive an email letting you know about this live stream tonight, who did not get an email this morning about this very live stream, you need to go to our website and sign up on our email, and so you can get email notifications when we're going live. And that's really simple to do, and I'll show that later on tonight when we continue on here. I'll actually show you, basically what the process is. It's really simple, and as soon as you get on the email list, anytime we have a live event, you will be notified well in advance, because I know YouTube is not the very best of sending notifications out. So, okay, it looks like we got KC with us as well. Hey there, buddy. So,
Well,
hey, not much. We're just getting the live stream started, just warming up here. We got 15 people watching live. Prepper POV is with us. Robin Downing is here. Um, and Liberty Revolutionaries here. Robin. Yep, so hello to everybody. Did sign on the website a couple of days ago. Robin, I'll bet you got an email this morning then, letting you know about the live stream. Okay, well, we're going to start by talking about our adventures in Jefferson City. 2 days up in Jefferson City, September 14th and September 15th. And you guys know what we were doing. We were trying to get basically a petition signed by Senate and House members to go forward with an emergency session of the General Assembly. And we were not the only ones doing it either. Just to let you know, it wasn't just Joe Mama, Casey Rich, myself, and my wife. There were actually people from Right Side Moms, now rebranded to Make Missouri Great Again. They were there as well, and others. So I think first off, we should share some stories about some of these conversations we had, and to let you know what the general feeling was in the General Assembly. And if you don't mind, I'll start off with a positive and a negative story. So we'll start with the negative story first, because I always like to end with the positive story. There was one person I talked to who was on the left. And I'm not going to say who, I'm not going to say what house. But it was actually an elected official on the left in the state capitol that did not want to sign because it was his belief that the unvaccinated, the unserumized, guys, we got to watch our words tonight, the unserumized incubate new variants of the beer flu that are going to destroy humanity in less than 2 years. And that's why he wouldn't sign the document. That is not a joke. I wish I could say it was a joke. I, I respect the fact that he told me what he honestly felt. So I'm not going to say his name or well, I said he. Um, so that was actually one opinion up there. Why he wouldn't sign this document for an emergency session of the General Assembly. Let me tell you a positive story, and I'll give you the gentleman's name because I actually like him. He is also on the left, Representative Adams, and had a talk with him, and he was very concerned about jobs. We had a little chat about this. We didn't have much time to talk because he literally had someone waiting for him in his office when he literally was talking to me from his door frame. And this is real as well. People here have witnessed that story. He actually did care about the jobs that would be lost. But he didn't give me an actual reason why he didn't sign it. But he realized that there's a possibility of jobs being lost, and he is very concerned about that. But once again, he actually gave a darn. He really truly did. He's probably one of those guys that that might have actually signed if I had more time to talk to him, or if other people had more time to talk to him. Union jobs matter too, guys. And that's one thing that some of those folks up there, we're connecting with. And so those are two of my stories. There are more. But if you guys, any of you, Casey, Rich, or Joe Mama, want to go forward with a story, and let's remember, let's be nice here.
Well, we can, maybe Joe wants to tell it. The one where we went to the Democratic senator, and he wasn't there, but his aides were. Mm-hmm. And they told us since we weren't in their district, they can, that we should go talk to our own senators in our district. And we kind of left there and we went out outside on the steps to take a break. And somebody from the CRT group came down and sat down with us, and we were talking with them and everything. And then I asked her, I said, who happens to be your senator? And she mentioned a guy at the office we were just at. So we're like, hey, can you do us a favor? And we took her over there and we hung outside, and she went in and talked to him. But I don't think it did much good, though.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that senator, or that rep was pretty rude. Didn't care about Missourians. I felt like, that's my opinion. I wish Democrats would see this as a bipartisan issue. Obviously it is. This should be something that's more concerning on both sides of the aisle. I'm sick and tired of the let's play politics with people's lives. Let's play politics with people's jobs. It's not right. I feel like people are being used as political pawns myself, and I'm tired of seeing people being used as political pawns, and that's why I actually went down there more to protect Missourians than really anything else. That's really what my biggest concern is. I mean, we already have shortages of food or other items, and I can imagine it getting much more worse as time progresses. And let's just pray a miracle happens, and just hope things get better, because from where I'm seeing it, we're all just being used as political pawns.
Hey, can I add something else?
You go for it.
I wish I'd have thought of it yesterday when I was there in that office. I'm sitting there, I was thinking about it, I'm like, I bet if I were, say, a lobbyist for a company or a corporation from DC or wherever, and I went in there and started talking to them, I bet they wouldn't ask me if I lived in their district. What do you think?
Yeah, that's an interesting point, and there's.
I wish. As soon as I got home, as soon as I was driving home, I was kicking myself. I said, "Man, why didn't I think of that?" Because that's the thing, all these lobbyists and stuff, they'll get talked to, they'll get listened to, they'll get an ear, But just because I didn't live, because the thing is, whether these senators and representatives are in my district or not, the way they vote affects the whole state, everybody in it. And to say I can't go and talk to them, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you something. I just being honest here. Every Republican I've ever talked to never told me you can't talk. You know, you need to go talk to your own rep because you're not in my district. I mean, that's probably why they keep getting a super majority just on that alone.
KC, I would like to add on to that. If you go and tell these politicians you're a lobbyist, as far as I know, you have to be a registered lobbyist, or it's some kind of crime. Last I remember, I don't remember what the crime is. But don't you, Pat? You would probably know more about that. Don't you have to be a registered lobbyist to say you're a lobbyist?
Yeah, well, actually, I don't know that lobbyists actually say they're lobbyists, but that is correct. If you are receiving funds or distributing funds based on an idea, something you're up there to promote, yes, that would technically be a lobbyist, and you have to register as so.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, I understand all that. But the point I was trying to make, though, if it was a lobbyist talking to them, they would say, "Are you in my district? No, you're not. Get out of, you know, see ya. Go talk to someone else."
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. But you know, they would get the ear, but you know, us regular peons, I guess not.
Yep. And Jamie Pearson's with us. I've got a story about Jamie, too, real quick. Hello, Jamie. Jamie says we need lobbyists for Americans. Actually, Jamie, you and I are the lobbyists for Americans. It's the ones that are willing to go and talk to their representation that are, you know, and that's our job to begin with. That's not a new novel idea. You know, this is our deal. If we don't want to actually go and govern by literally telling these reps what to do, then we have to just accept what they do without our input. And once again, that's what happened up here in Jefferson City on the 14th and 15th is very disturbing in many regards. The governor should have taken care of this. The governor clearly is not going to do it. It's very clear to me the governor is not worried about Missouri jobs. He's not worried about the ramifications of OSHA. We are an OSHA state, actually dictating to businesses whether or not people have to get the jab. He obviously is not concerned about that. He says he is for choice, but he is advocating for the jab and running lotteries for the jab. So we do have a go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry to disrupt you, Pat. I thought you were done. No, another thing that is crazy is back when Trump was in office, Biden said he wasn't wanting to take the vaccine. Same thing with Kamala Harris. And now they're wanting to push it down people's throats. They're saying here, oh, I'm not taking the vaccine if it's coming from Trump. And now here they are pushing that same damn vaccine down our throats when they didn't even at first want to take it.
Yep. Well, you know, it's something we're going to have to deal with unless a miracle happens. But I will say this. There were some people on the left side, our friends on the left side of the aisle, that literally said they really want to see the OSHA regulations on paper before they literally say, not in Missouri. So, I mean, I suppose that's a valid point, but that also can be considered a stall. I'm stalling. I want you out of my office. It's possible that it was a stall. But at the same time, the petition and the plan were good. I mean, I think it's everyone could agree with. We need to save Missouri jobs from this Orwellian nightmare that cometh. And also, see, we have Wonder Woman with us. So, hey there. If you want to talk, you can go ahead and unmute your mic on the left-hand side, bottom side of your screen. And then your mic will be live.
You know what the biggest concern is? The Democrats didn't even want to look out for union members. They really did. They did. You'd think they would protect the unions, but, you know, me seeing my mom being a bus driver for 30 years and being part of the union, they didn't really do much for her. But I've heard good things from other unions. And for the Democrats not to back the unions on this, it's just crazy. I mean, people are going to lose their jobs. Unions are going to be in breach of contract. It's crazy. It could be class action lawsuits. Yeah, if you're in a union and they're trying to force this vaccine on you, sue them. That's what I recommend. Sue them. You can sue them, and eventually, maybe Democrats will get a big wake-up call on that one. That's all I can really say on that. Anyways, yeah, I just want to put in that input.
Okay, and before we, blame all the Dems, because I'm not willing to do that at this point. I would, the first easiest option was for the governor just to allow for the special session, and then we could have had some hearings on this. We could have found out what the intentions are. We could have gotten information on what the solutions are, and that simply wasn't even allowed. Our Republican governor shut down the process by not allowing that special session, and we had a lot of almost every single Republican going for that special session. And to my knowledge, now we don't know, so this is important for you guys to understand, we didn't see signatures, okay, except on the Senate list. You guys all saw that list. We didn't see the House list. So we don't know. There may have been Dems on that list. We just don't know.
I agree with you. There are definitely some Republicans that should have been on that list that was not as well. I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah, Aurora says she can't hear you very well. I'm going to bring up the volume on you, Joe Mama, but also, too, you have a lot of background noise there, too. We hear a radio in the background and like a fan or something like that.
What about me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think it's you. I think it's Joe Mama, because even I brought up the volume on Joe Mama earlier because he's hard to hear.
How am I doing now? Can I get a 5x5? Let me know.
Okay, Aurora, if you can let us know if you can hear Joe Mama a little better now. What about these shady Republicans, asked Crazy Train. Well, as far as shady Republicans, I don't have a whole lot to say at this time. We're not really sure who the shady, quote-unquote, shady Republicans are, except for we know of 3 in the Senate that did not sign the document. And so, I mean, if you want us to focus on shady Republicans, we can. But if we do that, we got to give equal time to talk about the shady Democrats. I'm not sure that that's going to help us. So, I mean, once again, we're not a right-left paradigm organization, Crazy Train. I mean, we're above that. We're for liberty. We're for the Constitution of the United States. We're for, every man, woman, and child in America. That's what we're for. And are you showing your face, Pat? Yeah, Crazy Train, I'll be back on in just a little bit. I got to go upstairs here for a second, and my wife is having some technical issues here getting her microphone up and running, so I got to help her with that. Okay, Aurora Borealis says nope, so she is hearing you better now. Juice with Jen, what about the recall of the governor? Is he too popular and recalling the rhinos? Yeah, recalling of a governor, that would be one heck of a... We're looking for solutions before people lose their jobs, Juicing with Jen. Although if the governor is going to literally forsake the people of Missouri the way he just did, I think a recall is something we could discuss. But I don't know that we could get that done. It would probably take 6 months plus to get that done. People will have already lost their jobs and their homes. So it would just be retribution at that point, but we'll all know that it was him. So I'm just tired of everybody blaming on the Democrats. Crazy Train, I understand that. I have been very, very harsh on the Republicans. If you've watched the Truth, Money, and Freedom podcast, you will see what I have gone against many Republicans. I generally don't go against Democrats. And that's just because they usually behave exactly how I expect. And I just don't have high expectations for a lot of them. Go ahead, Joe Mama.
That's the problem with Democrats. They don't call out their faults.
Hey, you guys keep it going. I'm going upstairs. Keep it going.
The Republican side is definitely quick to call out the problems on the Republican side. The problem with the Democratic side is they don't want to call out their problems. They'll do something wrong and they'll never even mention it, or their supporters won't even mention it. They won't hold nobody accountable. Republicans actually hold Republicans accountable. That's what the only thing, like one of the biggest things I like about the Republican Party. They hold other Republicans accountable. Democrats don't do that. I would like to see one Democrat supporter out there who is holding Democrats accountable. You won't find one, not a one. If I'm mistaken, then correct me right now. Because I'm telling you, from what I'm seeing, there ain't one Democrat calling out the crap right now, and that's on their supporter base. Republican supporters will call out faults on Republicans. Democrats don't do that. I think Pat just went upstairs. You want to add anything to the conversation, Casey?
Well, as far as Democrats and Republicans, I really don't care. I mean, I don't follow any party or anybody's specific ideology. I'm just more like SAPA was a matter of the Constitution. We needed it, and that's why I went to get that on there. And as far as this goes, all I care about what's going to happen if these mandates come down. And it just, when you see the politics in there, when you're up there, it's just, oh man, it just makes you want to go off. I mean, it's like, why can't you just have an emergency session and discuss this? They're more worried about their Democrat, Republican, left, right, or this or that, or whatever. It just, can't these people see what's coming down the pipe? I mean, we can figure it out. These are supposed to be elected officials that represent us, or are supposed to look out for the interests of the state of Missouri. They can't see what's going to happen with these mandates. It's just like, why can't you just do a special session? But, they'll give all the reasons, politics and everything, whatever, but that's not helping us.
No, it's not.
It's not helping the Missourians.
Thank you for saying that, Casey, because we're the ones who are going to suffer because of their inaction, from the governor all the way
Exactly.
down to both houses.
You
We
can
are the
boil it all down. You can boil it all down to that. Whatever their reasons are, they don't want to have, regardless of which side or whatever, we're the ones that are going to pay the price.
Yep.
And that's BS. And that's like I said, man. I was just so many times I wanted to go off the last 2 days when we was up there, but I held my tongue mostly.
So I guess I expected more because it is Missouri, and I think KC did too. Probably Joe Mama and
Yeah.
Wonder Woman. We expected a little bit more. We expected to be able to get more accomplished, but there's a lot of folks up there just playing politics, literally. Now, not all of them. Holy mackerel. There were some people we talked to that were genuinely concerned, people that told us. In fact, I got phone calls because we were leaving my phone number with these representatives and some senators when we were in their offices. And they would call us up after the fact and say, just so you know, that, it'd be an LA or an office assistant, and they'd say, my boss just went upstairs and signed the document. I just wanted to let you know, thank you for stopping by the office. So, I mean, yeah, but every phone call we got was Republican. Every one, without exception. So, and I'm talking about after the fact. So, not a single Democrat called back and said, hey, my boss went upstairs and signed. Didn't happen. So, and I hate to say that out loud, but it's just the truth. Guys, this is the after action report. If I'm going to fib, then it's not an after action report anymore. It's propaganda. I'm not feeding you guys propaganda. I'm telling you guys the truth. What we did up there was important, but it failed. And it wasn't only us. There were others. I don't want you to think there was 4 of us. And the entire balance of whether or not Missouri would, do this, hinged on the 4 of us. No, it hinged on like 33 senators, 32 senators, and like 154, 155 House members. That's who it actually hinged on, because the governor clearly has stated that he has clearly stated now that he's thinking about a special session. And that's to get the phone calls to stop. He's not going to call a special session.
Don't stop.
Yeah.
Turn it up.
Yeah, I would
Put the thumb
continue.
screws on them.
Yeah, I would continue making phone calls, gang. I mean, it's not like this whole process doesn't go now. It's just we were hoping to have it done before Wednesday because they could have had the special session literally on Wednesday while they were there. And as opposed to recalling them from their home districts to come all the way back up to Jeff City for a special session. That's what we were hoping for. That's what we were going for. So it's not that all hope is lost, but our deadline, our self imposed deadline of the most likely time to hold it is over. So, what else I can tell you guys is there is a possibility. There is a possibility that something can still happen before this takes effect. The only problem is Missouri businesses are going early. They're literally starting to let people go early. We're hearing stories already about this. In fact, Liberty Revolutionary said his mom just got a letter, from her job. And so these letters are going to start going out here real soon, I think. Um, let's see, Pat, can you please fix the American comment? The America comment? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Crazy Train. Read. Um, how about what Fix America said? Fix America. Okay, the reality of this so-called mandate is that it's not even a mandate, lol. Employers have the option to do weekly testing, or they will be the ones mandating. Uh, well, technically, that's that's another option we're going to discuss here tonight, is non-compliance. Um, that is something that every business should be considering across America, not just in Missouri. Now, we're focused on Missouri. We care about Missouri, but we also care about the rest of the country. It's just we can't fix the rest of the country. So fix America. I get where you're coming from, and we will talk about that. But you know, it's not even a man that it's not even a mandate. It is technically a mandate. It's an edict. It's a dictatorial, from the bully pulpit kind of thing going on from Biden. There, no one can tell me any different, and it doesn't matter. Emmett, if I'm technically wrong, I'm certainly not wrong on his temor or his tone. I am losing patience with you unvaccinated people. That was a very strong statement. That was a very strong statement that Biden made. Um,
And let's get back into these employers. From what I've heard, and I think this is true. Correct me if I'm wrong. Even if you go and get tested for your employer at $100 a week, $400 a month, your employer is still going to be fined $14,000, regardless if you're being tested or not. So that fine still takes place.
yep. That's correct. And that fine does go directly to the federal government. Let's talk about OSHA for a second. What is OSHA? OSHA is a regulatory commission. And someone correct me if I'm wrong, but what cabinet level position does OSHA fall under? Is it infrastructure? Um, because what I'm trying to prove is OSHA is under command of the President of the United States. It's probably not under the command of Congress, and that's why the President's using OSHA. If OSHA were literally under the purview of Congress, then Congress would literally have to quote unquote make a law. But most of these agencies that we have, these alphabet agencies, EPA, IRS, OSHA, and many others, they're simply not constitutional to begin with. They shouldn't even be there, actually. The American people had no say. Basically the president just keeps on, even the Department of Education gang is unconstitutional. So in order to fly to another country, you must get vaccinated to protect yourself from virus or disease. So do you choose not to get a shot or cancel your vacation? Well, that's a decision that people have to make. I, for one, am choosing not to get the serum. And therefore, if I can't leave the country because I've not had the serum, it looks like I can't leave the country. Um, I don't know what else to say about that. This should not be happening in our lifetimes. I'm talking about communism. This is actually straight up dictatorial communism here at this point. And we could go into the science, but that's a really good way for YouTube to shut the channel down. There's plenty of evidence that this should not be happening. Plenty of evidence. OSHA is part of the United States Department of Labor. Thank you very much, James Weber. Okay, Department of Labor, which is, of course, there's a labor secretary. That's under the President of the United States. Oh, hang on. Juice and Jen says they fall under Health and Human Services. Well, Health and Human Services might fall under Labor. OSHA's administrator answers to the Secretary of Labor, who is a member of the Cabinet of the President of the United States. Thank you, James. So this is how the president's choosing to go forward with this edict, with this mandate, with this, this, I don't know what else to call it, edict or mandate. Take your pick, guys. It's both. But that's how he's going forward. This way he gets to bypass Congress, the people's representation. The president, okay, we're a microcosm right now in Missouri. We have a governor that won't do anything about this. And then we have a General Assembly that is gridlocked in their ideology and can't get anything done. And because we need 75%, and the Republicans do not represent 75% of either house of the Assembly, the Senate or the House. So we need Democrats. And Democrats, we can't prove one way or the other whether or not any of them signed in the House, but we can prove they didn't sign in the Senate. So they just can't come together on this one. They can't come together for Missourian jobs. So the governor has failed us, and the General Assembly basically has failed us as well. And they are hearing from the people, but we will talk more about that as the night goes on. Casey Rich, the guys you see on the screen right now, including myself, the only one missing is my wife, are the 4 people in our group that did go up there. And we did not hear the phones ringing when we were up there in these offices. The phones were silent. So how many phone calls were actually being made to these representatives? Not too many, at least not on the 14th or 15th. And believe me, guys, we spent a lot of time in offices. A lot of time. So, basically, if the pressure was on, especially we spent most of our day on Wednesday in Democratic offices. There were virtually no phone calls. There's like 1 or maybe 2 phone calls in like 7 hours of being inside people's offices. We heard the phone ring 1 or 2 times. And we're talking about between all, like 40 offices we were in. So it's that bad, gang. It's that bad. The phone calls were not coming in. Go ahead, Joe Mama.
Not just that, we were in offices in and out all day long. Going back from one office maybe to another, to going around to other offices. We were all over the place. We were trying to get things done.
Yep.
We didn't even take lunch breaks. We were 100% of the time at it. We were trying to protect Missourians is what we were trying to do.
Sarah Spot says, please look up the Lazarus Project and learn about what they're creating in the body after the serum is injected. Sarah, I know a little bit about that, but we can't touch that subject on YouTube. That is a good way to get your channel shut down, unfortunately. You can't even have an opinion. It's terrible. We've already gotten a strike, and we've gotten a warning after the strike. So we're trying to be very careful so we don't lose our channel right now. But that means we have to restrict ourselves. Freedom of speech is gone on this platform. I get this. But as long as we continue using our code words, serum, beer flu, they seem to leave us alone. But we also need to avoid, the face diaper thing as well, because we get hit on that as well. Let's see. Robin says, I'm scheduled to fly to Arizona and California next month. I'm not worried about Arizona, but not sure if I will have to deal with California and airlines. I don't know, Robin. I wish you luck on this, because there's been all kinds of rumors that the airlines are going to start going in the direction of requiring a special ID in order to even get on the plane. Aurora says, what I'm hearing, there's only 2 religions they're allowing exemptions for with no problem. Where's the separation of church and state here? There is technically no separation of church and state here. The government has their fingers in everything. Yeah, it's getting pretty bad. And let's see. Fix America comment.
Even if you use religious exemption for your employer's going to be fine.
Yeah. So it is. Thank you for that, Joe Mama. The main thing here is, guys, is that we don't sit here, high on our laurels and literally blame people, for their party or them personally for what is about to befall all of us. It's for us to remember that we've been betrayed by our governments. It doesn't matter. Your federal government, look at this. Joe Biden's making the edict. Is Congress doing anything to shut him down? The answer is no, at least not yet. Nothing's been done. They've made some awesome speeches, some get up in your seat, pump your fist in the air speeches. Yeah, go Rand Paul, go Ted Cruz. Yes, there have been speeches, no action. Remember, guys, this is what we talked about in Jefferson City. Talk is cheap. It's extremely cheap. It costs nothing for them to say something that you agree with so strongly that you would actually vote for that person. Let's see what their actions are. Are they doing anything to get anything done to protect you? This is their job. They swore an oath. It's their job to protect your rights. It is their first job. The very first job of the President of the United States is to protect your rights. The very first job of a Senator of the United States is to protect your rights. The very first job of the Governor of Missouri is to protect our rights. What rights are being violated? First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, and a whole crapload of civil rights are being violated by this edict, this mandate. But don't worry, Howard Stearns is on it because he said, "Make love to your freedom. Go get the shot." That's what he's saying, and there's others saying it too. Guys, where do we draw the line here? We have celebrities that are shouting and pumping their fists in the air, "Go communism! Go communism! Go communism!" Remember that. Remember that. You've got some people on the Democratic side of the aisle that are very excited about the communism that cometh, but that shouldn't surprise us. The communists infiltrated the Democratic Party a long time ago. This is nothing new. Some people say, "Oh gosh, the libertarians are infiltrating the Republican Party." Yeah, they are, but that's kind of a good thing. The communists infiltrating the left side is maybe not such a good thing, right? Could we all agree on that? That our rights, trump, the totalitarianism. And let's not forget, there's one more aspect of this that a lot of people are talking about. And once again, we're not advocating for anything here other than literally the rights that we have under the first 10 amendments of the Constitution, the rights we have under the Missouri Constitution. So that's what we advocate for with the Missouri Liberty Alliance. We're not a right-left paradigm organization. But it sure is a shame when we have people in office that literally can't seem to get anything done, and we're about to get hit. They are the first line of defense for our rights. And what they did is they put us out literally right in the first line in the battle, and they're using us as shields. And it doesn't matter. You could talk about the President of the United States. You could talk about the United States Congress. You could talk about the Missouri governor. I can't talk about any other states right now because I really don't know. And I certainly am not visiting representation in other states. I am visiting representation here in Missouri. And they need to put us, the people, first. Instead of ideology, instead of, party line, or, worried about whether or not they're going to get elected again. They need to put the people first, no matter what. And that's what I had to say about that. So, guys, there's equal amount of blame to be spread around. We have a Republican do-nothing governor that clearly doesn't care about our rights. And Governor Parsons ever watches this, all I got to say is, what the hell, man? What are you doing? What is your point? Are you bought off by Cox Medical? Is that what it is? I mean, have you received some bribe money from, Pfizer? Why would you forsake us? Why would you do this to us? I can ask the question all day long. He's not going to answer. And of course you can't. And by the way, both days I was up in Jefferson City, I did go to his office and schedule for meetings. Of course, he couldn't make the time. But I did try to meet directly with Governor Parson. to advocate for all of you. And he could not make the time. And I did go there as Missouri Liberty Alliance. I actually gave my card, Missouri Liberty Alliance. He could not make time for us. So I also tried to get time with the lieutenant governor, but I didn't do that day one. I did that day two. So, but since the guy who was handling the lieutenant's governor's office didn't ask for my phone number, I had to literally tell him what it was. He kind of reluctantly wrote it down. That told me that they had no interest in talking to me either. So, guys, we have problems on both sides of the aisle. We can complain about one party or the other, but both parties have let us down. Okay, you guys, and Wonder Woman, if you want to come in and speak, please do.
Hey, Patrick.
Yes.
Hey, kind of brings me back to when I'm listening to the 10th Amendment Center, when you have the Federalists and Anti-Federalists. They say that these are just mere words on parchment paper. It's really up to us, the sovereign people, to make a stand and say we're not going to conform, we're not going to comply.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was saying the other day in our chat there, that if you go through there and you look at the governor's page, he's got numerous comments about face diapers, the jab, how come this and how come that. So I really wonder how many Missourians are actually for this, which is why you didn't have like the phone calls and stuff a couple of days that you guys were there in Jeff City.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't have a real, that's a very, very good point and a good question. What I will tell you is I don't have an answer for you. And the reason being is because we don't know exactly the amount of people, working people in Missouri, who have not received the jab. There's a reason why they haven't gotten a jab yet. It's been available for 6 months plus, and they still haven't gotten the jab. I suspect that those people are against this, but at the same time, oddly enough, there's a lot of people that simply aren't getting involved in the fight. They're simply not letting their voice be heard. They're kind of hoping it all goes away. Actually, we've heard that from a couple of people. We're just, it's la 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 la, don't want to listen to it. This is all going to blow over soon. This is nonsense. There's no way this will be allowed to stand. Not in my state, not in my country. I beg you guys to reconsider the thought process that actually think that. It is coming. People will be losing their jobs when this OSHA mandate comes down, and we're an OSHA state, so we're in trouble. Old EP said, he's a politician. What did you really expect, Pat? I know, I get it, but at the same time, we wanted to put the pressure on him. We know he was getting lots and lots and lots of phone calls. We'll never know how many. My guess is he's received thousands, not hundreds, but thousands of phone calls on this very issue. And because it switched from no emergency session to I'm thinking about an emergency session, is what his people were saying on the phone. So that's what it switched to. So I suspect that he literally was trying to placate the people calling in. But Congress could have done something. General Assembly could have done something, and they didn't either. Everyone is going to hurt because of this indecision. And if it's because someone's, getting a lot of campaign funds from a particular hospital in the state of Missouri, there's probably a special place in Hades for that person. So that's all I have to say
Can I
about
bring
that.
something up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, in your video you put out the other day before this, you mentioned something about how Parsons talks about, well, it's a matter of choice. It's up to the
Mm-hmm.
people here in Missouri. He's not going to tell them what to do. But then you mentioned how they got this kind of lottery or whatever. What was like a $10,000 prize if you get the jab, your name
Right.
gets put in there. Well, now where's the $10,000 prize lottery for the people who don't want to take the jab that they can put their name in?
Yep.
I mean, it's a matter of choice, right? You should be able to choose which one
Well,
of those. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
I
but
mean, you
it
made a
is
great point.
it is kind of like winning the $10,000 lottery, though, because you don't have to deal with the side effects of the jab if there are any. So that's winning.
Yeah, but yeah, I get you. But
I'm
you see what I'm saying? He's saying it's about choice, yet they're trying everything they can to make people take it. In fact, I was watching that YouTube channel This Week in Missouri Politics when they were interviewing him, and he brought up something about, well, a lot of people don't want to take a jab, and maybe if they see someone or somebody gets sick next to them, maybe they'll rethink it. So what he's thinking overall.
Yep.
He wants to push it. I mean, just from what he said in that interview, and with this thing where, oh, no, you're allowed to choose whether you can or not. But oh, by the way, if you go get a shot, we got this lottery going on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like an incentive to try and make people get it. That's not really, you can say it's a matter of choice, but you can see what they really want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's and like I said, between that, when I was watching an interview, I mean, he's pretty much telling you what he really wants. It's just he knows he can't just go hard at it because there'll be too much backlash. So that's kind of like I don't know if backhanded would be the way, but try and take it away from us, our freedom of choice increments at a time. And people can get mad and say that's nonsense, whatever, but it is what it is. I mean, you see something like that set up, and like what I heard in that interview, they can say otherwise, but that tells me how it really is.
Mm-hmm. Well,
like I said, it's going to be up to us, man. The people of Missouri are going to have to. We got to push back. We got to stay on these people.
well, the first thing, first of all, Wonder Woman. Did you want to come in and talk, Wonder Woman? Go ahead. Now's your time.
What would you like to discuss? Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you great. Did you have any comments, or do you want to tell any stories from being up in Jefferson City?
Well, yeah, it was disappointing. We didn't hear phones ring. So it's like, okay, well, there's not as many people calling as we'd like to have heard. Well, as many phones ringing. But I don't know. They did say that, unfortunately, because they don't know the language that they're going to use for like OSHA to come down on the people or the businesses more specifically, that it's hard for them to come back with something in legislation to fight it. So I think when we can really start holding their feet to the fire is when we actually have that language and said, okay, you were waiting to the language. We have that language now. Now will you do, special session to combat it?
Yep. Nope, that's a good point because they did claim, there was a lot of them that did claim they weren't going to sign on until they saw the language coming out of, basically OSHA. So,
They said, we don't know what we're fighting yet.
Yeah.
To be able to actually counteract it. Mm-hmm. So that was something that we learned. We did learn a lot. Yeah, we didn't get what we wanted, but in any fight, if you win, you didn't learn anything. If you lose, that's where your learning is. What can we do better next time? Mm-hmm. How can we navigate this better?
Yeah.
Where's our focus need to be? Or where did we fall short? I mean, it's a wonderful learning experience. And going up to Jeff City is actually kind of fun. If we could get more people doing it, it would be even more fun.
Yep. It is a lot of fun. We were using strategies we're not going to talk about right now, but it was, it was fun. There's no doubt about it. It was a little bit stressful, but it was fun. Crazy Train is saying I'm missing out on some stuff here up in the comments. So if you guys don't mind, let me take a minute or two to read some of the comments. Fix America says, if you want to fix America, we need term limits on everyone in Congress and the Supreme Court justices. That is correct, Fix America. However, the process to actually get term limits is to actually get Congress to vote on term limits, and they don't even take up that bill. That bill's been, there's been a bill introduced at least once every 5 years in Congress to limit terms, and it doesn't even make it out of committee in Congress. So that's, once again, the fox guarding the hen house. Let's see. If a president only gets 8 years, so should E. Not sure what that means, Fix America. Oh, everyone else. Yep, gotcha. Let's see. They have their heads in the sand. $10,000 of tax money, that's being taxed. Let's see. Jusen says, Missouri Liberty Alliance, the problem lies is no one takes action until it affects their lives, unfortunately. That is absolutely correct, too. And that's why I think people are in America are for the very first time, getting upset with the situation. Oh, here's a good comment from Retro Life. I'm suspecting the jab percentage numbers are more like 30%. Wow. Their plan may not be working. A nurse friend of mine in LA said only 9 in 29 nurses at the hospital took it. Interesting. Well, we do know for a fact the percentage is less than 50% of those taking the jab, in the medical industry. I mean, those stories are just flying at us left and right. Um, let's see. Trey Nitro, Fix America. I know an entire network of nurses that nicknamed it the clot shot. From those I know who got it both rounds, it more than lives up to its reputation. Wow. Okay, so yeah, they're getting clots. I just listened to the guy who said $30 a pop and wanting to take the jab. The world is looking at 500 trillion profit for big pharma. I'm sure it is. Big pharma is doing very well under these circumstances. Hospitals are not. That's another conversation we can have later, but I need more data before we do that conversation. Hospitals are financially devastated. They're not doing well. Hospitals and they keep claiming they're full of patients, right? And we know that's a lie too. That those exposés are coming out right and left. Okay, we've actually have got clean house. I'm sorry, guys. The lighting, the way it is, I can barely see my monitor up above here. Hello, Pat. Oh, Nevada Cario. Hey there, Cario. I know a couple of people that got mildly sick, and my sister, after taking the jab. Okay, all right, so we're all caught up on the comment section there. Okay, so guys, if you'd like to, come on in, chime in. Before we start talking about possible other ways of dealing with this, do you guys have any more comments about being up in Jeff City, about the people we talk to, things of that nature?
Hey, Patrick, I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I wonder what, like, when we say that there's probably more stuff coming down the line, I really wonder, like, if all this is to just another way to, like, cripple our country. Like, say, if we have hospital staff that don't want to take the jab or stuff like that, if that won't give them the reason to spend more money to get people or whatever to come in and have more government-ran facilities.
Well, that's the end goal of this for sure, is expanding government. Guys, I hate to bring the subject up, but after 9/11, we had the biggest expanse of government we had ever seen before in generations. And that was the TSA and other things too, Homeland Security in general. And so whenever there's a crisis, government expands, but it does not contract when the crisis is over. This
Don't
is.
forget,
Go ahead,
don't
Joe
forget
Mama.
don't forget the Patriot Act.
Oh, the Patriot Act, of course, Electronic Surveillance Act. So that grew the NSA and other aspects of the government as well. So now the 9/11 crisis grew government literally by at least 75% in a period of about 5 or 6 years, and it never contracted, never once. And now they're using it to create a surveillance state. So basically, Scott, you have a very good point. What's happening in government now will end up resulting in a much, much larger government, once again, to the detriment of the people, to more surveillance state, to medical tyranny. And actually, there's a whole crap load of rights that are on the table right now. A whole bunch of them. First right, the First Amendment of the Constitution, freedom of choice, the right to choose. That is going away. They're going to take away your options till you have no choices left. Some may say, well, that's what was promised in the Bible. That is correct. It is promised in the Bible. So that may be what we're up against now. But your Fourth Amendment right, your right to privacy, when your employer has to see a card saying that you got a shot, that is a violation of your Fourth Amendment. The very fact that you have to carry documentation around with you proving that you had something done medically is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Civil rights are being violated right now by, even the threat of not being able to get an airline ticket because you haven't been, serumized. You can't go to a concert. I'm sorry, you can't go to a hockey game. You can't go into this grocery store. Hey, listen, if you don't throw that face diaper on, you can't come into the bank. These are civil rights. These are all being violated. And believe me, there's plenty of tyranny to spread around here between corporations and government. They all love it. They can't get enough of it. I remember what it was like in Springfield, Missouri, when everything reopened after that first 2 weeks. You remember now, guys, it was just 2 weeks to flatten the curve. I don't know if you guys remember that. That's all they asked for. Just 2 weeks. That's it. And then it'll all be over, right? But I do remember when they reopened, and in Springfield they had a mask order, and the Nazi at Shoe Carnival in Springfield, literally with his walkie-talkie through the PA system, literally saying, hey, you out there, put your mask on, put your 6 feet distance. You're not 6 feet away from the person in front of you. Just screaming into this microphone that was through the entire PA system. And that's what he did all day while he was there. And he couldn't get enough of it. The guy was enjoying himself. Whether he was a sociopath or, just a control freak or whatever, I don't know. I don't know the guy. But you see, that's the thing, is government attracts these types of personalities, control freaks, diabolical narcissists, toxic narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. They all love government jobs, authority over other people, telling them what to do, controlling them. So we're going to get more of that now. That is not going away. Let's see. This is Jen says this is a violation of federal and state HIPAA laws, more than civil liberty. Very good point. But they're going to change HIPAA laws to accommodate this, Juice, and trust me, they're going to change HIPAA laws for this. That is a big deal. I've never gotten any other poke since being an adult, so why would I start now? Says Rabid Coyote. Let's see. Grant says Greene County was the worst. I'm glad Parsons shamed them. And he did. So that's another good point. Parsons did shame how bad Springfield was. But remember now, Springfield got a $35 million grant after they did their face diaper order. The same face diaper order that there were protests for. The same one that they claimed electronically. They said they polled the people of Springfield and of Greene County and found that they did want a mask order, however, a face diaper order. However, they didn't show evidence of this. But I will tell you that physically, people didn't want it. People who came out to protest this, people who came to speak against it, were very large, and there was no contingent of people actually basically outside of City Hall actually advocating for the face diaper. So, it's just like, looking back at the election, the presidential election, Joe Biden's, he was lucky to have 24 people show up for, his campaign stops, where Trump had tens of thousands, everywhere he went. And then suddenly Joe Biden wins by a landslide. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Okay.
That was great that Governor Parsons shamed those people down in Springfield. Oh, but hey, you get the jab, man, you can enter that lottery.
Yeah, I know. $10,000.
Yeah.
$10,000. It's not a violation of the Fourth Amendment if you volunteer up your vaccination card, your serumization card, a concert, a sporting good, and privately owned, just like companies. So just don't give them your business. That is correct, Fix America. That's our next point of call here, non-compliance. So we can start talking, because there's, in fact, I don't want this to go on for hours, like some of our podcasts have done before. So I'd like to get some very important points down and get you guys thinking about a few things. And the first thing is non-compliance. tell your job you're not going to get the jab. If you can, and I realize some people are being pressured to the point where they may have to take the serum just to keep their job. And this is a very bad situation for these people. This is a very bad situation. And I pray for you guys. This is a horrible, horrible place to be. Mentally, physically, spiritually, all of it. But consider non-compliance. Please consider it. If you can possibly do it, tell your job, I'm sorry, I'm not getting the jab. You're going to have to fire me. And make them fire you so you can get unemployment. Make them fire you. Keep coming into work. There's interesting stories on the internet now about how they're literally saying, you quit because you refuse to take the jab. No, that's not what happened. You're firing me because I'm going to keep coming to work until you give me physical notification on paper that I am terminated. That's what you have to do, non-compliance route. So that stands for companies too. Now, Make America Great Again, rebranded, from Right Side Moms. And Jody had a podcast in which she had talked about what people should do is find out what companies are not going to comply with OSHA in the state of Missouri. Support their companies with your purchases. So please buy from those companies, and we need to start setting up networks so people can get employed by those companies that will not take the jab. That is a very, very reasonable. Go ahead. Joe Mama, go ahead.
I was going to say, when we do move on from talking about the vaccine mandates and all that, let me know, because there's other topics I'd like to discuss on here.
Okay, we'll get to that because I just want to get a few more ideas out there. So that's one of them. Non-compliance, make them fire you. You must make them fire you. Do not just walk out of your job or quit. Make them fire you, because you have recourse for for a firing. You don't if you quit your job, and that's a fact. It doesn't matter if it's under duress or not. If you quit your job, you're limiting your options to almost nothing. So make them fire you. Let's support Missouri businesses that will not comply with this, will not comply with OSHA. Let's find out who they are. Let's support them with our purchases. Let's find out what jobs they have, and let's go get jobs at these places. And then the next one is an interesting one. We'll discuss more later in more depth, but that's talking to your local sheriff and seeing if there's anything he can do. Sheriffs are much more powerful than most people realize. They have a lot of power. They can actually, if they choose in their county, choose not to follow any federal laws. That's a fact. I mean, you guys can look this up. I realize a lot of you are new to this, but sheriffs are uniquely different from any other law enforcement in the country. Sheriffs by themselves can actually do things that other law enforcement can't do. And they can also, as I said before, reject laws and say those are stupid laws and those laws will not apply in our county. So that's an avenue worth looking into as well. And then the final option, and I do mean the final option, is secession. Now, this has come up in the news lately because New Hampshire is actually talking about leaving the United States of America. What makes that unique is that there are two people in the House of Representatives in the state of New Hampshire that are actually promoting this, that actually are talking about this and actually saying it's a good idea for New Hampshire to leave, even though the New Hampshire government, would have to be completely broken apart and rebuilt if it happened. But this is something a lot of states are starting to talk about. Certainly the ANCAPs out there. The ANCAPs, are, very much into this idea of secession. But if you have, guys, and I know this is a crazy idea, but I'm saying everything needs to be on the table in Missouri because our governor has failed us. Our General Assembly is failing us right now. So non-compliance is probably the best route right now. But when basically, and we do have the ability to secede in the state of Missouri, even though there's a federal law saying it's illegal. It is illegal for us to secede from the Union. It's built into our Constitution. I believe it's Article 1, Section 3. Not only would we leave the United States and become our own country under this. But also, too, we'd have to form a new government in the state of Missouri because we would be a country and not a state. So these options, um, we have to consider these now when we realize the gravity of what's hitting us now, the gravity of the tyranny, and the lack of both sides in Missouri, left and right, to come together to decide, we need to protect the people of Missouri rather than protect their own jobs or positions, their reputations, or their party line, anything along those lines. I mean, we don't know. But at any rate, these are the options that are on the table. But I suggest the non-compliance route. But please keep making the phone calls. I'm begging of you. Please keep making. Go ahead, Casey Rich.
Actually, I'm going to throw another option out there on the table. I was actually talking to one of the other day when we was up there in Jeff City. I was talking to one of the Democratic representatives, and actually, I respect that guy because he just told me straight up the reasons and what was going on. Stuff was a private conversation. But what he did suggest, he said, you can try and make this happen with those signatures to get a what do you call it, special session or whatever. He goes, but here's another thing you should take in mind. You should try a ballot initiative.
Mm-hmm.
We can think of things we can put on the ballot. So basically, he was trying to help us in the best way he could. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
He probably like, my hands are tied, but, if you really want to, he's throwing something out there. So, that's great. Like I said, I can respect that. But there's another option, man. We just need to think of anything we can. And like I said, if any of these representatives or senators are listening to this, it's like, we ain't going away. We're going to keep bothering you. It's too important. It may not mean nothing to you. I don't know. Maybe your job will be okay. But you know what? I look out my window right now, and there's a shopping cart on the other side of the street in a ditch. The homeless guy is probably pushing it till the wheels locked up. I've seen so much homelessness where I live right now, especially once this first round of the COVID went on. All the non-essential businesses were shut down, which is kind of strange. Walmart and Target stayed up, but it's just the homelessness is getting crazy.
Yep.
And it ain't going away. And we get this next round of mandates. It's like I said, I don't know what you got to do to get these guys to come together and make this happen, especially the governor. He could solve it right now and just get a special session, because if we don't get proactive against these mandates coming down, they're going to wait for the Biden administration to strike first, and then they're going to try and react from that. And a lot of people are going to get hurt. Or if it gets real bad and then everybody starts saying, hey, what's going on here? Then they're probably going to just point fingers at each other across the aisle. And you know what I'm saying? When we've already been up there, we've told them about this. They should know this is coming down. They should be doing something now. And this ain't, this really isn't a left or right thing. Because, when I scan news, I go all the way from the left to right, the whole spectrum. There's a lot of, YouTube channels on the left or something they see this coming too. And, and it's just that, and they see the Democrat side just same as, we see a lot of Republicans talk, but not doing anything.
That's right.
And, most of the people in this country are hip to it. The media tries to make this like vaccinated people hate the unvaccinated people, and that's nonsense. Because, my neighbor took the vaccine. He took all of them, and he knows I ain't taking it. Even in our politics are a little different. Some things we agree on, some things we don't. But you know what? We can just disagree, and that's it. We're still neighbors. In fact, Wednesday when we finished up, I left, when we got out of there, I stopped at a gas station to get something before I went home. And I got a call from him. He said, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm up here at Jeff City. I'm ready to leave. I said, what's up? And he goes, well, I noticed you ain't touched your mail in a couple of days. I was just making sure something wasn't wrong. So it wasn't like he was like, oh, he didn't take the jab? God, I hope he croaks. You know what I'm saying? But the media tries to make this a left-right thing, vaccinated against unvaccinated. That's nonsense. Most people are onto this stuff, And these politicians need to see this. And we got to get something done here in Missouri.
Yep.
Yes.
Wonder
And we just
Woman.
got to stay on them.
Yeah, Wonder Woman, go ahead.
Well, one thing too that a person has to consider when you call representatives, if you're into doing that, you have to think about the fact that how is it going to affect them? Everybody, it's about me, right? So you have to think of it in terms, how is it going to affect that person? So how do I need to approach them going, well, if these people walk out of the hospitals or get fired because they choose not to take the serum, that's going to affect you directly if you get in a car wreck. What about your loved one? You have to approach it in a way that, hey, things are going to break down. I talked to one of the representative's aides, and I said, we ran out of toilet paper and everything was running fine, but we ran out of toilet paper. I said, what do you think is going to happen at the grocery stores? Are you going to be able to get groceries? Yeah, I said, everybody's going to die on this hill. You guys want people vaccinated? Well, or I'm sorry, getting a jab. And then there's people that's going to die on the other hill that doesn't want to. So each person is going to die on that hill. How do you think that's going to end? Everybody's going to suffer. It doesn't matter which way you believe. So you have to appeal to that in the fact that, okay, well, I'm going to do whatever they tell me so we can get back to some normalcy. Well, no, sweetie, that ain't coming. That's not coming back, because you continue on this path and this is what you want, but they're on a different path and they're willing to lose it all for it. So you have to kind of take it in a direction of how much you're willing to lose, because this is a path we're headed on.
Yep, that's a good point, Wonder Woman. Thank you for that. And the reason I throw these options out is because they are options. All of them are options. They're not necessarily good options, but our good options were the governor just to call a special session. That was the good option. That clearly isn't going to happen. The lieutenant governor's office was unable to get anything done about that. Guys, as you know, we spent a couple of days in Jeff City. There are representatives and senators begging the governor for time to talk to him about calling a special session. He won't give them time either. It's not just me, little old me going into the governor's office saying, I want 5 minutes with the governor, please. I'm a constituent. I would like to talk to the governor. It's even representatives and senators can't get his time right now. So he's not making himself available. He's not calling for a special session. He's not succumbing to all the phone calls, all the emails that are pouring into his office. So the point is this: whatever option we choose should be, number one, the easier option to take, and number two, be 100% beneficiary to the people of Missouri. We're not talking about what benefits the government here. That is not what we're about. The people are who we're thinking of. Literally, the citizens, the residents, if you will, of Missouri are under threat right now from the federal government for their jobs and many other things too. We'll have to wait for Joe to come out with the rest of his ultimatums. And believe me, there are more coming. Remember now, I'm losing my patience with you unvaccinated people. Joe, we're losing patience with you, man. You're a dictatorial nightmare. And you, chances are you weren't even elected. But the point of the matter is, they're taking away our options as citizens of the United States. They're making us make horrible choices as citizens of the United States for something they claim we have to have, which we don't want and is unproven. So, I mean, I could go on and on about this, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So, okay.
Yeah, also back to
Go ahead.
also back to what the young lady was saying a while ago. Like things were not coming back. If you heard, the administration, like under Obama, You kept hearing reimagine, 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 and now you hear, build back better, the new normal. So that tells you right now, even if everybody were to have complied, that things will still going to keep moving in whatever direction they wanted it to move in the first place.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, come this winter, this whole fiasco is over. I mean, it's not going to be able to be hit and miss. Very much more that is. So I understand why he did it now in this time frame, because otherwise they're not going to be able to push forward. People do crazy stuff when they're scared, and they'll do things that they normally wouldn't do. So this was the last push. So that's why I tell people, if you can make it through the next 6 months, it will be a different story. But we also have to tell people, don't live in fear, because then you can't think. So you have to be careful with where you let your head go too on this. So yeah, we have to be strategic, but we also have to be patient on some things.
Yep. And then basically, Reetha, I agree with you so much so. I'd like to, actually put a heart emoji next to what you just said. You are correct. We're going to have to be patient on some things, as difficult as it is. But the fact is, a lot of people, earlier, I believe it was Jen saying, people don't, rise to action until it directly affects them. That's coming soon. That's actually, honest to God, coming pretty soon. And we need to pray that there's some civility in all of this, because the government refused to act against Biden's edicts and his mandates. Because of that, in the position, who knows? Biden may not even be in office at the end of this year. He may be, ejected from office, or, just not wake up one morning. I don't know. But Harris is waiting in the wings. So the point is this, gang. We need to actually do stuff that actually looks like it's moving towards the direction of getting rid of federal mandates. Nullification is another way of putting it. I'm sorry, guys, I'm so used to thinking very, very, very carefully about what I say before I say it, so YouTube doesn't pick up on it. Nullification, there's lots of ways of doing it, but the easiest thing for us to do is just say no. So your job says, yeah, hey, listen, you're voluntarily quitting if you don't get the jab. And you say, no, I am not voluntarily quitting. You guys have to fire me if you want me gone. This is it. There is no ands, ifs, or buts. Send me a piece of paper saying you fired me. And they know what that means too. They're going to have to pay unemployment. They know what it means. So stand at your job when this comes, and I am so sorry for everyone in Missouri. I worked my butt off to try and get the governor to stop this, to try and get both houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives, to stop this, and I failed you. And I'm sorry, but you guys have to stand your ground when it comes to people starting to lose their jobs. So, with any luck, the Missouri General Assembly will act before that happens. We have to see what language is coming out of OSHA first, apparently, for a lot of them. They won't sign anything until they see the language.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I was so pumped up going in there Tuesday, thinking, man, we can get this, we can make it happen. It didn't. But you know what? Ain't over yet.
Yep, it's not over yet. That's
Party's
correct.
just getting started, man.
Yep, and I'm gonna break from our heavy conversation for a second here to show you guys. You guys see on the screen our website, MissouriLibertyAlliance.com, which is still being worked on, by the way. But if you scroll down just a little bit, there's a section right here. You can fill out your information to get emails from us. And the emails right now we're just using to let people know about live streams, but we'll be using that email for so much more when the legislative season begins. So be sure to fill out this information. If you are not receiving emails from the Alliance, we don't have your information or we missed it. Please do fill this out and hit submit. The only thing that's required is your name and your email and a message. That's it. And that's so it's not spam related. So that's why we're requiring a message. If you put your phone number in there, we'll look into doing text messages during the legislative season. Address is optional as well. Subject line is optional. But name, email, and message is all we require for you to get on our email list. So please consider doing that. And also, all of our socials are right here too, just like at the bottom of every video in the description section. We also have all of our socials here as well, so you can find, where we're at very easily. Okay, all right, we'll continue on with the conversation, but I think we've pretty much. Go ahead, Joe Mama.
I was gonna say I'm getting pretty tired here. I do want to cover something before I do get off of here.
Sure.
So I'm hearing that the IRS is talking about. Joe Biden's talking about having the IRS monitor bank accounts. Everybody does know that they're gonna now be. They're planning on monitoring bank accounts with anybody that deposits, withdrawals, or has a balance of $600. And that's a violation of the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution. If you go and look up the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution online, they are misleading people. They're saying it's only covering your house. No, that covers all your property. Like, for instance, if a cop wants to search your car, he either needs a warrant or reasonable cause. If he has no warrant or reasonable cause, the cops have no right to search your car. So that even includes bank accounts. So this is a big Fourth Amendment violation. And I'm hoping Missouri, I can convince Pat with the Missouri Liberty Alliance to jump on our politicians here in the state of Missouri to do something about that as well. It's a big Fourth Amendment violation. I already called the Attorney General's office today. I've yet to hear back from him. I'll definitely be calling him back first thing Monday morning. I want to hear from them. I want to see what they're planning on doing. Is he planning on suing the Joe Biden administration, the federal government? How they plan on going with recourse on them on this? But I can also kind of predict where it's going to go with our politicians. They're just going to sit back, do nothing, and look away. I don't know. I hope not. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do nothing about it. But
Well,
I want to hear y'all.
yeah, I have some comments here based on what you said. The violations to our rights are going to come fast and furious now as we're shifting from a fascist socialist based society here in America into more of a fascist socialist communist hybrid. And I know that people say, oh no, it's feudalism, it's socialism and feudalism, and guys, the isms are just very confusing. It's just easier to say communism, because it's forms of communism. That's what's coming down the pike here. And we can nullify things one at a time. In the state of Missouri, we can. But we have a part-time legislature. So there's 6 months out of the year that we just have to endure the hardships of brand new totalitarian edicts coming down from the White House. And you guys notice, even he's not going through Congress. He's doing this all from the bully pulpit. But believe me, what's coming real soon is literally gun issues are coming from Washington, D.C. very, very quickly. So we're getting hit fast and furious. I hate to use that term because that has a connotation as well, by edicts from the federal government. So, Joe Mama, that's just one of many. Give it another month or two, and we'll be fighting. The rest of America, not Missouri. The rest of America will be fighting for their gun rights like crazy. To try and keep those. And then you'll be fighting everything all at the same time. You'll be fighting OSHA, you'll be fighting trying to keep your job, you'll be fighting trying to keep your house, you'll be fighting these gun mandates coming down from the White House, you'll be fighting IRS mandates coming down, enforced by banks, in order to try and tax you harder while you're trying to just keep your head above water. A lot of bad things are coming. That's why some states, like New Hampshire, are looking at the route of secession because they're tired of it.
And
go ahead.
I was going to say, what would be the best route for us to go from here? should we get our politicians on board to try to pass a law that stops Joe Biden from his overreach, or
Well,
should we just 100% complete pull the nuclear option and succeed from the union and start a petition and get them 250,000 signatures to do
yeah,
that?
that's a good question. I think the answer lies in what we see our state government do when people start losing their jobs. I think once people are losing their jobs, I think they'll be very happy to sign a petition to leave the union. Um, Maybe not happy, but less reluctant. Let's put it that way. And remember now, the Missouri government wouldn't be happy with that option, and that is the nuclear option. That is the final option. That is a very, very serious move. That is not a joke. Someone even wrote in here the ATF, FBI will be all over us if we try to do that. I believe that. Maybe even the U.S. military. That's not a good option. It's the final option. The best option is for the governor just to represent his people, and clearly we're not going to get that here. So non-compliance is where you go from there. If our government in the state of Missouri, the governor and both houses can't come together and decide, hey, we're an OSHA state. We are so screwed if Biden's edict goes through. People are going to lose their jobs. We have to do something for the people. If we can't come together and decide that, then we've got bigger problems here. So those are
All
my.
we're asking for is an emergency session, figure out how to deal with these mandates coming down.
I agree.
Being proactive, taking care of it now instead of waiting until it hits us and then we try and counterpunch. Because while they're deciding, oh, how the OSHA mandates are going to go, or we're trying to get this federal lawsuit through, which will take forever, people are going to suffer. All we're asking now is an emergency session. Let's be proactive. Let's take something, deal with it now. If the governor, if the legislature can't come together and do this, then we got to exercise all these other options.
Yeah, we were
I don't
proactive
want to
with
wait.
SEPA.
I'm trying to give a message to them. It's a simple thing. Just get a special session and try and address this. I mean, if we could see what's coming down the pike, they got to see it, whether they want to admit it or not to us when we're up there.
Yeah.
Anybody can. Everybody knows this is coming. It's common knowledge. I mean, the media tries to keep everybody separated and stuff, but everyone, left to right, all across spectrum, knows what's coming here.
Mm-hmm.
They know it's going to be bad. That's all we want, man. A special session. Let's address this now. Let's be proactive. But no, you want to wait? Okay, we got other options we're going to come with. We ain't going away, man. I mean, this is for real.
Yep. And
We're going
once
to take care of
again,
this one way or another. We're going to put pressure on you one way or another and make you do it. I hope some legislators or the governor is watching this. So
yep.
just do your job. You're supposed to protect the people of Missouri.
We were proactive on
This is
SEPA.
nonsense.
We were
that's coming down.
proactive on SEPA. And that
Yes.
protected us from the garbage that's coming literally in the next few months. There's rumblings in D.C. that gun grabs are coming pretty soon, more totalitarian gun legislation. And it probably isn't even legislation. It's all going to be edicts through the ATF. We have protected ourselves. We were proactive in Missouri. We saw this coming.
Yeah,
But
look what happened when we passed SEPA. When we were in the process of it, people said, "Oh, even if you pass it or whatever, the ATF or whatever, they'll just come in and take all your guns anyways." People don't understand, man. The federal government, in order for them to operate, they have to have the states and the locals and the counties and municipalities working with them. Otherwise, they don't have manpower to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened with SEPA. Once we passed SEPA, what happened? Nothing. They can't. They sent a letter saying, "Hey, this ain't right, guys. We don't What did they do beyond that? Nothing. In fact, what was that you saying about some of the state law enforcement that was working with ATF? Ended up quitting.
Yep, they had to resign their ATF positions and go back to their law enforcement jobs.
But see, that's what's important about this SEPA. The federal government was coming down with these crazy gun laws, and we managed to separate them from us with this. And they haven't done that. In fact, they haven't even hardly spoke out about it because they don't know how to handle it. They tried to do what they call that, a loophole, where when the session was going on for SEPA, the Democrats were trying to introduce the was that a misdemeanor, like if battery misdemeanor or something, they just want to be able to take your guns away as
Yeah.
opposed to a felony. And they're trying to call that a loophole or something, but I went and commented on one of those sites and said, "No, it's not a loophole; it's a slippery slope." Because if you were to do that for assault, what that's not the word. It's when you're abusing your spouse or whatever. What do they call that?
Domestic violence.
Yeah, domestic violence. They wanted it to. They were trying to add that in there for domestic violence misdemeanor. But
Yeah.
thing is, if you would allow that in that misdemeanor, what's be the next misdemeanor? You get a speeding ticket, they take your guns away. Well, see, they were trying that route, and that kind of got exposed, and all of a sudden they cut off that. It's like even the media can't figure out what to do. It's like, do we really push this and get everybody's attention, and other states look at it and say we can do it, or we just be quiet now about this? I mean, when we passed that SAPA, man, it knocked them off for a loop.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. We need to be proactive now and take on these mandates and kind of go at it the same way we did SAPA. And they ain't going to be able to do nothing. If we can pass a law here in Missouri saying, hey, we're not going to follow your mandates, no one's going to get fired, no one's going to have to do this, what are they going to do? Especially if you put some kind of penalty mechanism like we had with SAPA, if anybody on the state or county or local level tried to help out the feds. We do that, then what are they going to be able to do? They won't have the manpower to enforce it. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. We can take care of this, if we can call a special session, be proactive and start addressing this now. But for whatever reason, they don't want to seem to do it. We had to pull teeth. I mean, we even had to go through stuff for SAPA. We had to pull teeth there quite a bit just to get that thing through.
We did.
And this is, man, I don't know, man, this is even more dire. I mean, gun rights are important, definitely important, but this is really going to hurt some people, man. I don't know. What do you got to tell these people up there in Jeff City to get them to do a simple thing? Just call a session and address this now.
Yes.
That's all we're asking.
Drop the politics and think of the people. Think of the people
That's
that you
all we're
represent.
asking, man. If any of them are watching this, why can't you do that?
I got to get to some.
Come out and tell us.
Yeah, I got to get to some comments. There's been an enormous amount of comments I've not gotten to in a long time now.
Okay.
So I know there's a lot more of you coming in to talk, and that's cool, and we'll talk to you. Just give me a minute here. Let's see. Crazy Train says, hey, Pat, do you believe that Mike Parsons should have ended the unemployment? If by that you're talking about the extra $300 from the federal government to, not work, yes, I do believe that should never have been there in the first place, by the way. And that's a complicated one. We're not going to get into that tonight. That's a separate podcast. Let's see. Okay, we're going all the way back to the IRS discussion now on some of these comments. Sorry, guys, I didn't get to them. Yes, it's true about the IRS, a step closer to a full-on card services, no cash society. That is correct, Juice and Jen. They are going towards a no cash society. This makes it easier to tax and track. Tax and track. Tax and track. That's what they want. That's what the government wants. That's what the banks want. That's the fascism that we have in our system today. If we get rid of the Federal Reserve, this is just a fact. This is not even, in my mind, debatable. If you get rid of the Federal Reserve and you go back to a true monetary system, all of our problems go away. I mean all of them. The problems even with education, go away. Because it's all the fake money floating around in the system that's causing many of these problems in the first place. It causes distortions in the market, if you will. And everything's a market. Even if it's a service, it's a market. And that includes schools. Rabbit Coyote, he put in here what the Fourth Amendment is. I'm going to read it, just in case someone hasn't brushed up recently. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, and papers and effects shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause. That's the measure, probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation. This is something that's missing, today in society. The Fourth Amendment is constantly violated now. You guys, just because there is a Patriot Act, Electronic Surveillance Act, it didn't take away your Fourth Amendment right. So you literally can sue. You do have redress in court on that. Let's see. Uh, let's see. In particular, describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. That's correct. Finishing off the Fourth Amendment from Rabbit Coyote 666. Holy mackerel, man! You're the coyote of the beast. Um, let's see. Good to have your pocket constitution beside you at all times. Yeah, I agree. Republicans don't want to rise the debt ceiling and want to vote no. Crazy Train, they have no choice. The whole system stops if they vote no, and they know it. They have done this on purpose. So that's
We have a debt monetary system. It's going to keep going as long as you have a private banking corporation.
Well, that's how they
that
control
lends
us.
money to our government and charges interest. Will always be in debt. We need to get rid of them.
That's right.
Go back to Congress coining money and asserting the value thereof, not having to pay interest on itself.
Yep.
It's a debt monetary system. That's what it's designed for. I mean, before this first COVID and all the riots during the summer hit, the Federal Reserve loaned out $3 trillion to different banks, corporations, real estate places. And then as you had COVID and all these businesses getting shut down and stuff and places getting set on fire during the riots and all that, guess what? All that money that got lent to these real estate people and stuff like that, they go and buy all that up. Meanwhile, people are going homeless and stuff. And then, you look at the richest people, the Bill Gates, the Zuckerbergs, all them, their profits kept going up, and yet the average people is going down. People were getting homeless, losing money. They basically just fed in that $3 trillion, got it back and more. And plus they pick up more assets and property and stuff. That scam's been going on ever since the inception of the Federal Reserve in 1913. It's just really ramping up now. It's hitting that exponential curve.
That's because the monetary system is beginning to fail. The point of this, gang, is at the end of the failure of the system, print as much currency as humanly possible, as fast as possible, give it to your friends, let them buy things of value. And then when that currency collapses, the things that they bought are still valuable. The currency is not. And they reset the system with something of value when the rest of us are left holding currency in the stock market, money markets, bond markets, real estate, because that's very much a paper-backed asset, because the price of homes is based on what you can get loans for. The price of homes has nothing to do right now with reality. So I agree with you, Casey Rich. You were spot on, and you said it in a way that I'd never said it before. So thank you for that. I want to get to a few more comments, and then we'll finish up general discussion, and then we'll wrap it up for tonight, gang. So final questions and comments. I am watching. Aurora Borealis says, I hear Biden wants to get back into the UN's arms treaty. And yes, that's exactly what he's trying to do, get us back into the arms treaty. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think that's legal to begin with anyway. He can't do that without Congress, and Congress won't let it go there. Sovereign, okay.
He can't do it without the he can't do it without approval of the Senate.
The Senate. There you go. Okay, thank you. Retrolife says a sovereign law expert says to put your self-defense items in a trust. He said it was free. Do it yourself. I'm understanding that things in a trust cannot be taken. A Retrolife, that is a very interesting take. I'd never thought of that. I've never heard of that before. Let's see. Going to the Attorney General, says J.B. Pearson. What are you going to the Attorney General for? Yeah, I know that there's other things we didn't discuss yet. There's the 27 governors going up against Biden in D.C. And then there's another plan in Missouri, if that fails, where our Attorney General will go to bat for us as well. But the fact of the matter is, this is a nullification issue. This is nullification. We need to get out of OSHA. If they're going to use, guys, they're weaponizing OSHA. We want nothing to do with that here in the state of Missouri. We don't try and figure out a way to work things out with the federal government with these OSHA, edicts coming from Joe Biden. No, we nullify it and say, We've taken away your weapon. You can't use it against us anymore. We are no longer an OSHA state. That's what we need to do. And since we don't have a governor that's willing to do it, since we don't have a General Assembly that's currently working to get this done, then nullification comes from the people. The businesses have to say no. The people have to say no. This is how you nullify this. Guys, that is honestly the best option. But getting people to do things that are not a law is very difficult. They're scared. They're worried about going to jail. They're worried about losing something. Isn't that our fear always? Is if we don't do something, we lose something? So that's a motivator for a lot of people. So it's easier for us to create a law in the state of Missouri and people go, okay, well, it's a law. Now I don't have to follow OSHA. There's a law saying. That's what we did with SEPA. SEPA, we should not have had to do a law. We shouldn't have had to do it, but we had to get people to go, okay, yeah, we don't have to listen to the federal government's laws anymore on firearms. Okay, let me go back to comments.
Yeah, that worked, didn't it?
Yep. U.S. Bank, 1791, signed President Washington. Let's see. Did you see George Soros? Okay. So sad and angry. I want to be free from my oppression. From Pika. Let's see. Bye, John. Bless. Okay. So John must have said something about leaving. See you later, John. Let's see. We need to get out of OSHA, FDA, CDC, and other bureaucracies. Show me the truth. That is correct. This is an issue that, unfortunately, never before have you guys heard me say anything about secession. But now it's almost like we almost have to put that on the table, because we're going to have
they're
to.
forcing that option.
Yes, they are.
We ask for a simple thing. They don't want to do it. Well, okay.
Well,
they don't want to just sit and wait around till Biden strikes first and people start getting hurt and losing their job. We ain't waiting. We're going to look for other options. Why don't you just do the simple thing? Just get that special session. Let's take care of this now. Otherwise, hey, we'll take anything we can get.
That's right. The federal government.
You ain't going to take care of it. We're going to take care of it.
Well, if they weaponize the IRS, they weaponize OSHA, they weaponize the CDC, they weaponize the National Institutes of Health. They're weaponizing everything against us. The only way to do everything in one fell swoop. Okay, all right. I'm gonna stop talking about that because I know it's unpopular. But at the same time,
guess what? If this stuff comes down, it's going to start getting more popular. I mean, I don't even want to do it. I want my whole country back from coast to coast and border to border. But they're not giving us that option, man. We're asking for a very simple thing.
Honestly, the secession thing seems to be pretty popular with people I know. So,
it is worse things get, the more it'll grow. We're trying to tell these people up there in Jeff City. They don't want to listen. We don't know nothing, I guess. They know it, or maybe they don't care. I don't know what it is. But we're asking for a simple thing.
And
very simple thing.
Yeah,
you guys can get together and make this happen.
Well, on top of which, KC, is the fact that there's a lot of people that don't buy into this, this nightmare scenario that the unserumized are going to cause the destruction of humanity because there's new variants growing in their bodies because they chose not to serumize. We don't buy it. Period. It's never worked this way. Humanity is still here after a long period of time, and by God, we have gone through a lot of bacteria and viruses. I realize this is a bioweapon. I get it, but it's not a deadly one. At least we don't think.
A very weak one.
If the federal government would come forward and tell us exactly what they created through the National Institutes of Health, exactly what bioweapon they were creating and why, they don't even have to admit, we let it loose on purpose because it's time to depopulate. They don't even have to say that. They don't have to say it was an accident and we're trying to make up for it. We're trying to save you guys. Please take the serum. Just tell us the truth for the love of God, government. Please tell the truth. But the government will never tell the truth because why tell the truth when a lie will do? And they just lie to us constantly. Let me get to another question, guys, and then general discussion. We're wrapping up here pretty quick. By the way, Pat, I don't know if you saw my question, but what do you know about a constitutional convention that was put on the Mo 2022 ballot? I have not looked into that. My focus has been, largely on other things. Constitutional conventions are a good idea when you need them. They can get pretty messy sometimes. And we have balkanization happening right now in the United States of America. I mean, it's happening, gang. Whether we want to admit it or not, whether it's actually in the framework of our reality or not, people are migrating based on their political ideologies now. And they probably should, because things are getting bad in certain states. You guys have any comments on that?
That was the position of the founders, was vote with your feet.
Mm-hmm.
The states must be free and independent. The Constitution was only designed to handle efficiency of travel and foreign and exchange amongst the states and foreign affairs.
Yep.
And when one state screws up, you move to another.
Okay, Aurora, hello, Aurora, by the way. Aurora writes, people better realize that the plan is you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. So people will lose anyway. Fighting is your only option. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great reset for you. Should we start collecting signatures for Secession? And maybe if we need to, we'll turn it in. I'm not saying we turn in the petition right away. If we keep the petition in case we need it for the nuclear option, but should we start collecting signatures just be in case? And how long are them signatures, or is that petition good for after we get the signatures? Do you know all that?
Joe Mama, if you're asking the larger group, that's great. With me, I want to talk to smarter people than me before I even say anything like that. And that's just the truth. That is the nuclear option, and also that will bring its own problems during the process. But New Hampshire is starting the process, by the way. This is not a joke. This is not fake news. New Hampshire is actually collecting signatures, and it's supported by 2 representatives in their General Assembly. So go ahead.
I saw that myself about New Hampshire. I'm glad they're doing it, and I see that being now the only route to go at this point in time. I don't see anything else working. I think secession will be the best way to go, and as time Missouri starts printing its own currency, and it's time we just form our own nation within a nation. That's the only thing
yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be to begin with, but at this point, the federal government has gone to the extent that they have usurped all of the powers of the states, because it was just kept being handed over to them for centuries. The reality is that the nullification effort is an attempt to restore that, but if all else fails, secession, and if multiple states do that, all it does is it strips the federal government of all of that power. They collapse, and then you can reinstitute a constitution or not.
You know what I think the best option is? Let's get that special session and address this problem now.
I agree.
Otherwise, otherwise, if it comes down to whatever else, secession or whatever, it's going to be on our government in Jeff City.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They can make this real simple.
Yep. Well, the governor.
You probably got some of the guys up here watching this here just talking about secession and just laughing or whatever. Go ahead. Keep laughing, man. Keep laughing. See what happens.
Yeah.
It ain't going away.
See, that's the thing. And I think I addressed that very succinctly. Guys, if we have to spend all of our time nullifying this, nullifying that, constantly on the defensive from weaponization of every single agency, every single department of the federal government to protect the people of Missouri, it's better to cede, to leave. So that's my point. But you got to
say, let's do this right, but they don't want to do it right. So what else you got to do?
Yep. So maybe
I'm not going to sit around wait for the Biden administration to come down on us and then try and counter it.
Yep.
That's crazy. We need to be proactive and deal with this now.
Well, if enough states,
they're probably watching this and they don't even take. They're just like, whatever.
Well,
hey, you see all the work we put in those 2 days. We're gonna keep working. We ain't going away. We ain't giving up. We're gonna keep going at it. And I'm telling you, man, people all over this country are hip to what's going on. The corporate media tries to make it sound like everybody's just,
And
vaccinated, gets unjabbed or whatever, and people, it's not like that, man.
and
Everybody's hip to it. And once they start organizing and getting together, look out.
okay, let me make something absolutely clear so everyone who's listening understands. The process of seceding from the Union does not involve an act of your General Assembly or your governor. This is done by the people collecting signatures to get it on the ballot, to let people vote. There is no government, so it's not like we're waiting for the governor to sign something to say that we can
Let me
cede
tell
from
you
the
something.
Union. Go ahead.
If I could walk the halls of Jeff City trying to get a bunch of politicians to do something, I can go door to door anywheres and start collecting signatures.
Yep.
I can go everywhere. I won't stop. I'll walk. I'm retired, man. I could walk all day, every day.
Yep.
And
So
I'm not the only one.
It feels good to attack the situation at all angles at this point.
that's correct.
Yeah,
We have to have all the options on the table now.
I say collect the signatures and go after the legislature and go after the governor and see which one picks up. I mean, that's going to be our only option at this point amongst non-compliance.
Just call it a special session, Governor. Let's make this easy. You want to do it the hard way? Hey, we'll go the hard way.
Yep.
I care about my neighbors and my fellow citizens. These people don't. Well, we're just got to make them care.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yep, that's right. And as equally as Joe has weaponized OSHA against the United States, we literally have built in our Constitution the ultimate weapon, and he keeps forgetting that. New Hampshire is reminding us that weapon is there in most states' constitutions.
The other thing too,
Go
I
ahead.
can say the other thing too to keep in mind when it comes to Missouri. Missouri would be a big loss for the federal government. The reason being is because we have both the B-2 program, which is the Air Force's nuclear program, and we have what produces 97% of their ammunition supply.
Yeah.
At Lake City Arsenal.
Yeah. Don't we have Pfizer here too, by the way?
We might have them here too.
I think we have Pfizer here.
Part of the problem. That could be part of the problem. But we also have Honeywell.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget Monsanto too. We got Monsanto here too.
Yep. So yeah, there's a lot of companies we want to keep, and there's a lot we don't want to keep. But okay, guys. Guys, normally we don't go this far in a podcast, literally to talk about the nuclear option. But let's hope the governor or the General Assembly can come together and decide that Missourians come first and drop the politics, drop this whole left-right paradigm thing, drop whether or not you're going to get elected in the next cycle, and for the love of God, represent the people here who are about to lose their jobs and their homes over this edict from a dictatorial president of the United States. There are some people that want communism. Gosh, we would be stupid not to acknowledge that. There are plenty of people that want communism in the United States. Would you guys agree?
I wouldn't say plenty.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to say that there are some folks that want communism in the United States. Governor Parson, if you do not call a special session, you're in favor of communism, at least totalitarianism. You play yourself off as a conservative. You certainly aren't acting it right now. Think of the people in Missouri. This is a conservative move to actually stop an edict from the President of the United States. It's completely unconstitutional. You're not even acting with your party anymore, Governor Parsons. Who are you playing for? Is it for Pfizer? Is it for Cox Medical? Who owns you? Just tell us so we can stop speculating and we can move on. Call the general session now. Do it. Get us together. We'll talk about this. We'll stop the weaponization of OSHA in Missouri. We can do it. We're a strong people here in Missouri. We can do this. That's all we ask. And for those of you in Jefferson City watching this, we're not a radical group. We're not a radical organization. We're about the Constitution of the United States. We're about the Missouri Constitution. Where do you sit on these measures? Where do you see things? Is it, oh, we're going to have to ignore the Constitution because of this beer flu crisis? If that's your position, we don't want you here. The Constitution
Those are in
comes first.
DC.
Go ahead, Casey.
I said the radicals are in DC.
Yeah.
It ain't us. But hey, anyways,
Hey,
something else I want to bring up, that where the resolution, the petition that was circulated yesterday, or I mean Wednesday. Well, it's Friday now, geez. But that was circulated Wednesday. I'm trying to find out how long that thing is good for, because if it's something that just can stay open for as long as whatever, then we need to keep calling these senators and representatives and, man, stay on them, say, hey, just go sign that thing. But I'm trying to find out. I can't get a hold of anybody. I've left messages, because it was hard to find, really. I mean, we were asking how this thing operates and, how it would work and stuff. It was kind of hard to get the info, but we need to stay on that, because if that's something that's like open-ended and it'll just keep going for as long as whatever, then, man, that's our opportunity to keep calling and keep getting on these people and make them go sign that thing and force a session if the governor doesn't want to do it.
Yep.
We just got to stay on them, man. We just, if they don't want to do it, who cares about hurt feelings? They don't seem to be worried about people losing their jobs or something. So why should we be cared about making them mad or whatever?
Yep. I
we need
agree.
to stay on them. We need to go hard.
Yep.
If they don't want to do this, then they're going to hear about it every day.
Yep. So
we're gonna make them run under a desk and hide when their phone rings.
Yep. And I got to say, once again, gang, I would love to say that their phones were ringing off the hook when we were up there, but that just wasn't the case. So all of us failed. We could have put more pressure on them. That doesn't. I'm not saying that if we made more phone calls, we would have been successful, because the ideology is very thick up there. And there's some of them there that believe in extremely bad science. Very, very bad science. So that's
we got to make them uncomfortable.
Yep.
wait, how do you call that science?
Bad science, I said.
Well, I mean, if it's still science. Even if something's bad science, it's still some kind of science. But this has no markers of it. It's just a narrative. They don't even bother doing any hypothesis or anything with it. It's just a narrative.
Yep. And KC, Juicin' with Jen said it's open until the next regular session begins. So it's still open.
So we need to start calling.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get on them. Maybe go. You know what? Maybe I go up to Jefferson City again someday and bug them some more and annoy the hell out of them.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you what. If anyone from Jeff City is watching us, please consider our words. We are made up of the salt of Missouri. We are the regular working folk. And these are our thoughts. Unfiltered, and, well, somewhat censored, because there's certain things we can't say. But consider our words. This is literally, and we're reading comments. You read the comments as you watch the video. We're just the regular folk here. And we have different political leanings across all of us, but all of us want to keep Missouri jobs. All of us want the mandates to stop. All of us want OSHA to go away. And that's what we all want. This is a really good litmus test for you if you happen to be watching. Okay, I'll open it up for final comments, guys, but I got to wrap it up. We've been going strong for 2 hours now.
Well, I'll start off. Look, if this resolution, petition, whatever you want to call it, if it's open-ended and it's still good, then, man, we need to start calling these people. Man, we need to make them afraid to pick up their phone because they know what they're going to hear. We just got to stay on. Then we got to stay on the governor, too. You saying, oh, yeah, you want choice and everything, but, dude, we know different. We know what you really want.
Yep.
You ain't fooling us. Like I said, if you got a lottery, people get vaccinated. That tells us you're trying to make everybody get vaccinated. So don't give us that nonsense.
Yep.
All right, give us that emergency session. How hard? What's the big deal? I wish the governor would just come out and say, why can't you do the emergency session? Just come out and talk. Do a video. Get on that This Week in Missouri Politics. Tell them why you don't want to do it. What's so bad about it? What is being proactive and addressing this? What is so bad about it? Maybe some of these senators, representatives want to come out and talk. You know, be the first ones to do it. You want some respect? Come out and address this. But if y'all are just gonna hide, you know, just keep not answering your phones or just keep giving us the runaround or whatever, man, we're staying on this. We ain't going away. We ain't going away. We're not going away.
Yeah, Parsons is kind of hiding behind his bicentennial parade stuff right now.
Yeah, he sure is. Okay. I want to say one more time, if you guys haven't received an email, if you didn't get an email letting you know about this live stream event tonight, please do go to our website, MissouriLibertyAlliance.com, and sign up to be on our email list. I know YouTube is horrible about getting this information out, getting alerts out, but we alert you aside from YouTube. So at any rate, please do sign up on our mail list if you haven't already. Go ahead, Joe Mama.
I was gonna say, before I jump off here, I'm about to get off here, and I hope everybody has a good night, a safe, good weekend, and I hope everybody takes care. But I'm about to jump off here. I'm about to go eat some dinner. I've been up since like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, around there. I
Okay.
can't get my ass to sleep. I hope everybody has a good night and stay safe. And a good
Hey,
week.
right back at you, Joe Mama. And once again, I want to publicly
Hey,
thank
man.
you for coming out to Jeff City and walking the halls with us and knocking on doors. Thank you very much, brother.
No, it was an honor working along these both of you folks, Casey and Pat. I agree with everything y'all are doing, and it was an honor, and it was an honor working alongside you too. And I hope you both have a good weekend and stay safe.
All
Take
right.
it easy, man.
Okay. You too.
Yeah, catch you later, man.
Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live stream, but we're going to stay in Discord for at least I'm going to stay in Discord for another half an hour. So we'll continue talking. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I heard someone breaking in.
Yeah,
Yeah, hey, it's Juggalo Napier. Hey there.
it wasn't me though, but it was the other guy, the Eagle.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up real bad. Can you say that again?
I said that the guy with the Eagle was talking.
The guy with the eagle. Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what, gang. Once again, thank you for joining this live stream. If you did not want to participate in the live stream, but you want to come in and talk to us after the fact in Discord in real time, we're right here. We'll be here for the next half an hour. These conversations after the party are usually significantly more interesting because we're not under the censorship effect. So we can talk about things.
We can get more spicy.
Yeah. So feel free to come in and join us, and you're always welcome to do so. By the way, this Discord is open 24/7. If anyone wants to come in and talk, you come in. So, someone else is in there. You have your own conversation. There's no rules, for you have to come in this time or this time. So please consider coming in and talking to us for the after party. And thank you all for watching us tonight. This, like I said, this is really, really important. In most ways, this is way more important than SEPA. Way more important. So we need to probably treat this as more important than SEPA. We need to continue making these phone calls to the governor's office. The governor can do this really quickly and easily, guys. Just so you know, the governor literally all he has to do is call a special session, and bam, everyone comes up to Jeff City for that special session. It's that simple. For the left and the right to come together to override the governor takes more work, a lot more work, in fact. So, and clearly that's not happening until at least the OSHA edicts come out.
Shouldn't take more work. They should just do it.
Yeah, well, it takes more work to try and convince certain people, and we're dealing with ideology here, and that ideology I'll speak much more freely about in the after party for those of you who are interested. So please do come and join us in Discord, like I said, for about the next half hour. Thanks again for joining us for this live stream. It's an honor to have you here. Thank you for participating in this grand experiment, the Missouri Liberty Alliance, bringing people together for what's best for Missourians, not what's best for our governor, not what's best for our General Assembly, not what's best for our businesses, but what's best for the people of Missouri. And often you'll find what's best for the people is very closely aligned with what's best for everyone else. And we'll discuss that on our next live stream. Okay, thanks again. Please sign up on our website, MissouriLibertyAlliance.com. Email list, please sign up. We have a donate button now. If you guys want to donate to the cause, it would be much appreciated. That's there as well. You guys, thank you once again for coming in tonight. Bless you for coming in and spending 2 hours with us. You guys all have a great evening. Take care, gang.